In this video, we'll be going over infinitives in Spanish. Now, I tend to find that this can be a little bit tricky of a concept for some people to understand because a lot of times I feel that it's not explained well. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the explanation for what exactly an infinitive is, the different types of infinitives in Spanish, and then also one rule with infinitives and when to use them in naturally occurring Spanish. So let's start off with the definition. What exactly an infinitive is? Well, the definition would be the most basic non-conjugated form of a verb. Now, let's talk a little bit about what this means because this isn't exactly clear what this entails right here. So basically when I say this means that it's just the action itself. So for example, if I were to say in English, to eat, that will be an example of infinitive in English because we have just the action of eating, right? There's no person that's doing it. There's no tense with it. It's just the action itself. And so when we say the most basic non-conjugated form of a verb in Spanish, basically what we're saying is that we have not changed the verb to demonstrate who is doing the action or the tense that it's happening in. We are just showing the action itself. So what that looks like is any verb that still ends in its AR, its ER, or its IR. So every infinitive or every base form of a verb with just the action itself will end in one of these three in Spanish. And there is no exception to that rule. So for example, if we were to take the word hablar for ARs, comer for ERs, take pedir for IRs, you can see this is talk, to eat, and finally to ask for or to order. So you can see that with each of these, it's just the action itself. We haven't changed it to show who's doing it. If I were to take the word hablar and change to hablo, that now means I speak, and that's in present tense. But when we're talking about just the infinitive itself, this would just be to speak, just the action of speaking. No tense going along with it and no person. And so overall with infinitives, you'll always start with the infinitive first. You'll always start with the verb at its AR, its ER, its IR form, and then change it in order to conjugate it to reflect both who's doing it and the tense. Now, one thing I wanted to note is that you do use infinitives sometimes in natural speaking. And the main rule about when you use them in natural speaking is if you have two verbs back to back, the second verb will be an infinitive 99% of the time. So, for example, if I were to say, I need to eat, we would say, first start with the word necesitar, and then to eat, comer. We'd have to change this to reflect, it's going to be necesito, right? And then comer is going to stay as to eat, because what we're translating is not I need, I eat, we're just translating I need to eat. So we'd say necesito comer. So instead of this being I eat, this is to eat. So the second one will usually be an infinitive when we're talking about two verbs back to back. Now, the one exception to that is if we were to change the subject. So like, for example, if I were to say I need, we eat, or something like that, this would be comemos. That wouldn't necessarily make sense. In some cases, it will make sense, but 99% of the time, if you have two verbs back to back, you can see that it's going to make sense that the second one will be an infinitive because it works the same in English. It's to eat, not I eat. And so overall, infinitives are very important to understand in Spanish because you'll see them come up in natural Spanish a decent amount. But at the same time, it's just important to understand what exactly they are because they are where you're going to start in every single tense. Every single sentence, what you'll be thinking about is first, what's the infinitive of the action, and then you'll be changing it in order to reflect who's doing it and the tense, which is also known as a conjugation. So in this video, basically what I wanted to do was just try and clear up some of the confusion about what exactly infinitives are in Spanish. Hope that helped, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.